Hey guys, this is Simon with Trade and Perform Coaching. It is Monday evening, and what we're going to cover tonight is how you line up location with the algo. So, just very basic. When someone comes in the room, I'm going to tell them to look for one of three things. The first thing I'm going to tell them to look for is when you get an arrow up or an arrow down. So when I refer to that, I mean the white arrow or the red arrow. So as this example shows right here, this is 8:30 in the morning. By the way, I don't trade till 9 o'clock, just for full disclosure. Arrow up, the bar gets immediately stuffed. My risk on this trade is approximately, let's just call it max, 18 points, right? And what I'm looking for to get my first scale is 18, push the two bars, and then push my stop to break even and hope it rips, or take my profit, right? So this is, in this example, we're not lining up location with any type of, we're not lining up location, I'm just looking at the signal itself, right? So I'll line up location in just a second, but so I want to give you a few examples, right? So here would be example of arrow down, it only gets one bar up, that would have been a stop. Again, I don't trade in the first half hour. And then you come right over here, you get arrow up, rolls to the downside, you get arrow down. Last bar immediately stuffed. That trade happened to be worth about 200 points. I didn't take any of those because I was just waiting to get past 9 a.m. There was no econ at 9 a.m., so you could have taken it technically. Now, watch the important part here. See, as we're going up, you're looking for an arrow stuffed. All the way, 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 all the way up. And you finally get it right there, and it pays you, okay? And then you get it again. I'm going to show you. Right here, right before the breakout. Okay, so, and I drew this out in the rim. So guys, and this, my members see this just like anyone on YouTube or Twitter would see this. So the way this works is now is we're going to go back and we're going to plane out some locations. So the yellow areas are anomalies from the profile. This is the profile. Okay. And the yellow is, I'll just go right back over here. Prior day's high, prior day's low, and the two anomalies that I have on this chart. I just kept it very, very simple. And then the red is a predominant single print on the chart, right? So if I then wanted to go and say, okay, I want my trade to line up with location, right? So then what you would look at, so if you're looking at this morning, let's make this big. Monday morning, I'm going to get to 8:30. I'm going to skip over till 9 o'clock. Here we are at 9 a.m. or just before 9 a.m. Now I would call this perfect. I probably should have pivoted on it because I knew that we had no econ. But this is coming right into the anomaly. You get arrow down, it gets stuffed, and the natural target for this, guys, would have been either to take out this this apex over here to the left, or target this area up above. Obviously, it just went up in a straight line. It was kind of odd. They obviously got shorts very stuffed from the open drive lower. So then the natural question comes, well, Simon, what about this area? When I get right in here, what do I do here? Well, you do nothing. You have location, but you don't have an anomaly, any kind of algo firing to tell you to take the trade. Same thing with value area low, no algo fires. Same thing with 5-minute IB high, along with the test of prior day's high. And this point's important here. Even though I'm looking at this area and going, hey, this is prior day's high and it worked, what I'm trying to do is elevate my win rate to a very, very high level, right? I want to say that again, to a very, very high level. So I'm going to keep pushing this over. And what I'm looking for specifically, so here I am in the single prints, right? And what I'm looking for specifically in the single prints is this arrow up that gets stuffed, right? This plus sign that gets stuffed is very valid. And then you'll see it finally pushed all the way up to complete the auction of the single prints, and it really didn't give you an entry here for the roll down. So I'm going to go through a more advanced setup here. Look, if you get this plus sign up, right, and then it gets beat with an arrow down, this is a 1 bar stop, and you beat the point of control, guys. Just telling you, that's how that trade works. The market's been exhausted. You're up there at the top. You had a tweezer's top, left, right. It was unfortunate. Okay, it was unfortunate that we didn't get the algo up, but you did get the algo down off of that, guys. So just want to point that out. And then this became the break. These were parallel plus signs. If you'll look right here, here to here. And once you broke that, it was all over. Right now, as you're watching, you're coming down, you're going, hey, I'm coming into support. So this is important. I would have ended up taking a stop right here at 1023. Why? I would have guessed, hey, we're at prior days high. We got the arrow down, the bar got stuffed. This is important. You can take this trade because the risk is defined, right? So if you get stopped, no big deal. As you're coming down, the other place where you may have taken a stop would be right here. Okay, and I can tell you what I said in the room. And what I said in the room is, this is going too fast for me. The rate of this decline really accelerated in here, right? And what I said was, I'm going to wait till it slows down. And I also said very clearly, so this comes to knowing your market and knowing your position. I said, I know we're at location, I know we're in a good area, and I know we're on a big stretch. I was at 200-point stretch there. And I simply said, if you look at the dome, the market was moving too fast for me, so I wait, right? So I wait. Now, what I'm hoping for is an arrow down that gets stuffed over here. And what I drew out was this series of higher highs, right? And this side wedge here, so it kind of formed a bull flag is what it formed, right? And what lifted that was at 10:42 Central Time, arrow down, bar up. The only thing this was missing, so this was we got underneath this anomaly right here, right? And we got above with backside test. They tried to break, they tried to hold, they failed, they got back above, they pushed down, Consolidation is tricky, right? But it is very common to get this push down out of consolidation, right? And then get this break up to the off to the upside. We haven't had to deal with this in a little while. But that's exactly what that was a sideways consolidation, arrow down. Now, let's make this simple for those who are still with us, right? The simple formula here, I'm going to go back and count it, right? Let's say you had no arrows, you had no way of defining what you were trading, right? So we're going to erase lines. I'm just going to draw out the trades as they showed up. Okay, I'm not going to make any rules as to where they have to show up. The only thing I'm going to say is wait till after 9 o'clock, because that's what I suggest to everybody, right? So you wait till 9 o'clock. Here you are at 9 a.m. You're looking for an arrow stuff. So we're just going to keep going through here. Nothing, 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 nothing. This is your first trade at 9:29. Arrow stuffed. Is it in an ideal location? Nope. Did it pay you? Yes, it did. I would not have taken that trade. Too far up in the channel and too big up on the extension. Now, once it consolidated, I might have, but I would not have taken that there. But did the trade work? It did. Arrow stuff number 2 gave you 2 bars for the scale, right? You got to remember, every 2 bars is roughly, it's about $200 to $300 a contract. Actually, $140 to $300, depending on how big the bar is, right? You're moving on over here. Arrow stuffed. That I would have taken, right? Arrow up. Gave you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bars down. So let's assume each bar is 7 points. That's 35 points to the downside, right? Coming back up again. I'm not going to cover the plus signs. Arrow stuffed. They gave you 1. You would have entered on this bar up with a 15-point stop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 times 5 is 35. That gives you a 2-to-1 RR. All right, now we're going to come through over here. Now this is where it got hard. If you didn't hear my warning that something had changed, this was loss 1. We would have been looking short up here, right? But nonetheless, loss 1. I would not have shorted this after 200 down, but technically this is lost 2. This paid. You entered here 1, 2, 3 bars down, so about 21 points. And then the bar that broke us out right here, that was worth a lot of points to the upside. Arrow down bar, and that concluded the morning, right? So you can see, even if you're not lining up location, that arrow down, it's a very specific algo, gets stuffed at a very specific point. So you don't have to keep up with location, right? It's not random. It works. It even works in Asia. Here, I can show you. Here's late in the day. Again, I don't trade the last 10 minutes of the day, but you can see arrow down, pushes that, then it goes into supernova, right? And then I would have switched over to the 15-tick chart in the evening, which would be this chart right over here. Oops, got rid of that. Let's re-enlist that. Nope, it's right here. And you can see this evening we got one trade set up right here. That's about a 10-point stop, and it ran you from 641 all the way up to 684 in Asia. That's been the only trade that's been produced. The other thing I want to cover is, look, if the arrow doesn't show up, there's 3 very specific trades that we have, right? It's the plus sign that gets stuffed, right? Plus sign that gets stuffed like this. Plus sign that gets stuffed like this. Right? We can take the yellow off, although the plus with the yellow in concert usually leads to pretty big rotations. Arrow stuffed, and if you'll look what was unique about this, I'm going to go back through, but that's arrow down right there. You put a line over it. So this is what I'm calling a super trap, which is the bar with the arrow to the left got stopped out, right? And when you stop that out, when that bar traps back in, that's your lift to the upside. I'm going to give you an example of that in the morning. Okay. This is arrow up followed by arrow down. Gets stopped out, trapped, it goes. And then this is arrow down, stopped out, trapped back in, and you can see the roll to the downside there at 1146. I'm going to come over here. And this really applies to any apex that has the arrow on it. So you can see here, that's the arrow up. It gets stopped out. Your entry would be here, right? Your stop has to go down here. So that's a 04 to 9150, and you'd want to add a point behind this, so it'd actually be at a 9050. So 15-point stop, but it gave a beautiful rotation back up. And then you can see you also got the stop, the short over here, where you got the arrow down on the second bar, came back up, apex trapped that bar, and rolled down. And it is important that you make sure that the apex traps that you're taking have that arrow on it, because that apex trap is worth a significant amount of money as long as the apex that it's trapping on has the arrow attached to that chart. So I hope that made sense. Again, it was a profitable day today. It should be a profitable day again tomorrow, because we're doing the 2 things that make traders successful. We're removing the opinion about what the market should or should not be doing and exchanging that for very specific order flow pattern that we're looking for, which is the arrows and the plus sign. We're limiting it to about a total possible combinations of about 5 combinations. I can list them for you here right now. What I'm looking for is plus sign stuffed, arrow on the turn, so that's 1, 2, and then arrow stuffed. Just like, well, this is Asia, so let's scoot over. Just like this at 12 noon today. That's 3 primary trades. And then all 3 have a secondary on them, meaning If I have an arrow involved in the apex trap, then that becomes a valid trade for me. And I am looking for it, even if it takes a considerable amount of space. And I know that when I trap, particularly when I trap a plus sign that got stuffed or an arrow down that got stuffed with an apex trap, I am looking for considerable counter rotation in the opposite direction. It does not have to be a formal apex, guys. It can look just like this. Then I'm looking for a significant extension in the other direction. Over here at 1028, arrow up, apex trapped. I am looking for a significant rotation up and in the other direction. You do have to get direction right still. You could have had this, you would have been profitable, but it didn't give you a huge extension. It pushed the other way. And most members of the room know how Supernova works. So my name is Simon. I am with Trade and Perform Coaching. Let me see if I have, and I believe I do. Hold on one second. Just keeping this little document handy. Let's see if I have it. And that's how you get a hold of me. It's $100 for the first month. It's $2.99 per month after that, after the first month. And you can email me TRADEnPerform@gmail.com for a 5-day trial. Right? So anyways, that's my 2 cents. That's how you make money. Not a lot of hype, not a lot of boom, first trade, 100-point bullshit. You got to get the money and take it out of the market. That's how trading works. So anyways, have a great night, guys. I will see everyone in the morning and talk to you all then.